Are you tired of seeing other salespeople in your industry absolutely kill it with personal branding, marketing, and advertising? Well, then you probably sounded like me just a few years ago when I got into the car sales industry myself. My name is Easton Brandon. I spent the last 5 years of my life fine-tuning and combing through the ways to not only cheaply but efficiently market my personal brand on Facebook to create a pretty dang good empire of the Deal King in the car sales space. I got to the point where I couldn't even go to any restaurants without somebody knowing who I was, what I did, and how dang good I was at it. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then stay tuned for the video. This is my 5 tips that I use day in and day out to supersize my brand and make it to something where everybody knew who I was and they wanted to be a part of it. And when they wanted to be a part of it, I got a little bit of money back. Let's jump into it. Alright everybody, so this is the 5 tips of marketing advice 101 that I use day in, day out. It's tried and true. I used it every day. It works. It's not something I learned from some school. It's just stuff that I tried every day until I finally figured out what works. So maybe this will save you a little bit of time and make you a little bit of money while doing it. Let's start with tip number 1. You have to have a brand name. If your name is Dave, there's probably a million Daves in the world. And there's probably a couple thousand Daves around you that are doing the exact same thing that you're doing. Now, all of my advice are specifically going to be exampled around car sales because that's what I spent the majority of my time doing it in, majority being all of it. However, that's not to say that you can't take these same tips and apply them towards real estate, selling roofs, selling solar panels, all those types of things. So keep that in mind. But if your name's Dave and there's a million other guys named Dave, you need to have something different that people can remember you by. Personally, I chose the Deal King. It doesn't rhyme with anything. It doesn't have any crazy good sound to it, but it's what I liked. I thought it was cool and I ran with it. And if you say it enough, it'll finally stick. And that's a big part of marketing is once you find what you like and what other people like, then you continue to say it until it finally hangs on. Having a brand name. Got a couple examples I wrote down here. You've got Daniel's got your keys, Mike's got your wheels, Whips of Greenville, Anderson Auto Pro. Just a bunch of just use your mind a little bit. Take a day, figure out a brand name. You got to have one, and you've got to attach it on everything. Whether that be your personal, your business account on Facebook. Every time you make a video, every time you make a post, every time you get tagged, you want that there. That way you can repertize yourself around that name. I'm Easton Brandon. I sold cars. I did this, but the Deal King was the brand, and it continues to live long after I stopped selling cars. People still know me by that. If I walk down the road, they know that they remember that better than they remember my own name, which is exactly what you want when you're building a brand. Specifically, so if you're building a business off of it or something like that, one day you can walk away from that brand and hopefully sell it. Now, in this case, if you're a car salesperson, you're not going to be able to sell your car sales career. However, it'll help you to continue climbing that ladder and make more and more money every year, which is obviously what everybody wants. So, tip number 1, pick your brand. Tip number 2 is going to be you have to be ridiculously consistent. What I see so often is if I'd have somebody start up a little thing, we get them a brand name and they start doing some content, right? You shoot a little short video in the parking lot showing a car, and then they do a live the next day, and then they make a post for the customer the next day after that. And that's it. Because they don't immediately see any ginormous jump in their personal status is what I like to call it, which is obviously what we're achieving. We're going to get more into that later because that's a very fine-tuned thing to talk about, and it's most of the time not how people prescribe it to be. I'm going to use a lot of wrong language here, but I don't care. You've got to be consistent with the content. If you imagine taking BBs and you threw about 50 of them at the wall, and you're probably not going to knock down the wall. But then on the other hand, you've got the guy who's got bowling balls and he's throwing them at the wall until he finally knocks the wall down. And that's literally the mindset you have to be, because in a market or in a world where everybody's on this type of thing, you've got to beat out the guys who are not really going to give it 100%. But they get the same amount of reach as you do, especially at the beginning. If I have a really good piece of content, a really good video, I'm nice on camera and all that good stuff, and another guy sucks on camera and he really isn't that good at all, but we both have 0 followers and we post it, then the same amount of people are probably going to reach it. However, as I continue and I get better and I get better, then I'm obviously going to increase the brand awareness and ultimately make a lot more money than that guy. And that's a good thing to think about, and a lot more people are going to know about you. Tip number 3. And this kind of rolls in with number 2. You've got to practice often. Now, am I probably going to record this video 45 times? you can bet on it. But that doesn't matter because I'm continuing to get practice. Every time you take a clip, every time you re-record something, you get more practice. And get it to about to where you're like, you know what, this isn't half bad, or you can just barely listen to it because it's going to be pretty cringe to begin with. Who cares? Start posting it, and guess what will happen? The people will tell you what they like. You will start to see more people commenting on it, liking the post and all that, and that's not what it's all about, but it definitely gives you a good idea of like, hey, I'm getting better at what I'm doing here, and obviously helps your mind a little bit to continue on and keep beating the wall with the bowling balls. You got to do that. So practice often, continue to make content all the time, work on it on your own, and that will inevitably help you to get better behind the camera. Tip number 4 is going to be create a schedule your followers will get accustomed to. What does that freaking mean? So I've got a few examples I wrote down, nothing too crazy. It's going to be a pretty short video. I always did like Tuesday tips. That would be informing the customers, my clients, my followers, whatnot, about different ways to go about purchasing a vehicle, and they can obviously apply that to going and buying furniture or a house or whatever the heck they may be purchasing, how to make that experience a little bit better. A lot of folks come into a purchasing situation, they think the ruder I am, the better the price I'm going to get. And for somebody who's pretty weak, they might get that. But obviously the service is going to be pretty short-handed because when somebody was rude to me, sure, I might have given them a decent price so I could get them on out the door. But guess what happened when they called me up later and said, hey, you know, I've got this thing, can you help me out with it? I said, yeah, no thanks. You can call the service department and they'll take care of it for you. And you guys know how that goes. So obviously helping people get the best service possible by something that they can do, they really appreciate. Tips on Tuesday, deal of the day. If you don't have a deal of the day, at least 4 days out of the week, then you're wasting so much free potential with a deal of the day. Go out, find something cool. Go find something that's a piece of crap. It could be anything. Just make a video on it every single day. Pick a time, whether it be 10:30 a.m., 11. Try to keep around the same time, but you got to have one every day. If that's the biggest thing you take away from this, you should be filming a Facebook short or a Facebook reel every single day with the deal of the day. Just kind of being funny, walking around it, having a good time, and people get accustomed to that. Another one I always love doing is Fresh Trade Friday. That was a good one. I typically would either find the most expensive trades or I would find the absolute crappiest trades. I really wouldn't do anything right in the middle unless it was just an absolute diamond. And people really enjoyed that content and they got used to it. And guess what? As they got used to watching them, I could slip in something that I knew, hey, these people are probably going to want to buy this. So start with the stuff that is going to get you the most attention at first from purchasers, buyers, friends, family, all those folks. That way you can have a good following, which is going to be leading into some stuff we're going to talk on later, which is how to fine-tune, funnel through those people and then get the best conversion rates on your ads. We're going to, and video, and we got a lot more videos for that coming. So that's tip number 4. Make sure you have a schedule on your content and you're doing it often and you're practicing and all that good stuff. This is going to be tip number 5. It is one that is overlooked by probably 99% of people, and especially those who are just starting out. That's going to be load up the freaking friend request. You shouldn't even have a business account for Facebook until you've gotten at least 2,000 or 3,000 friends, or until you get tired of having to go back and forth with having to balance work and family related content. When I mean, like, you know, if I'm going to post a picture of me holding a fish or killing a deer or whatever, I typically like to keep those on 2 different ones. I want to keep my buyers on the business page constantly locked in, and my aunt gets tired of seeing cars after a while because she's not in the market. But I'll still get her business too. So make sure you have to load up with the friend request. What does that freaking mean? I sell a car. I get the person's picture, I post it. I make sure before I post it, I get their Facebook profile. Once I have that, I tag them in the picture, and that's going to let all of their friends know that they bought from me. That's great. We want their friends to see it and all that. However, don't troll in the comments. You don't want to do that. But there's definitely nothing wrong with letting Facebook do this as long as they will, which is you go to their Facebook profile and you friend every single one of their people. Even if they've got 1,000, now eventually Facebook will like kind of put a stop to it, but do it as much as you can. It'll reset like every week. So you sell a car, you say, hey, this guy's got 800 Facebook friends. When you have a break, just friend request the heck out of them. If somebody comments on their photo, hey, congratulations, so proud of you, whatever. If you don't message those people and say, hey, I just want to tell you thank you for commenting on the car that Carly just bought. I really appreciate it. Hey, if you ever need anything, here's my number. I would always say, you can save me as the Deal King at Anderson Ford or whatever it may be. And you leave it at that. It doesn't have to be anything super pushy, but that is easy stuff you can do to start growing the brand slowly but surely. People will, they might even not reply to you. Now, did I get a couple of deals off of doing that? Absolutely. They're like, oh, well, since I got you here, hey, do you have one of these? That's fantastic. Free money in the pocket. Buy something it took me 35 seconds to do. But you'd be surprised how many people will absolutely never do that because they feel like, oh, that's too invasive on people. Like, who cares? I'm here to make money. I'm here to help people. And I'm obviously here to have a good time. So why not do it while you're there? So that is going to be my top 5 steps to successful branding on Facebook. And for beginners, for people that have messed with it, maybe it opens your eyes to some new stuff. And I'm going to be making some more content specifically on car sales here in the future. I'm going to try to do at least 1 to 2 videos a week. And if that's something you're interested in, feel free to shoot me a message. I'm going to be helping people all across the upstate personally grow their own brand. And if that's something that you would like, then hey, we'll check it out and go from there. So, thank you for watching, everybody. This is Easton with Deal King Marketing and Business Analytics. I'm super excited to start growing the brand, make a lot of new friends, have a lot of fun, and hopefully help people succeed a little bit more and preferably a lot more. So, take care, guys. Have a great day. See you later.